If I'm not mistaken, Huzur has mentioned once that the journey of Hazrat Isa ﷺ to India was prophesied by the first Buddha.
That's right.
And he was a fulfillment of this prophecy. And as we know that Hazrat Isa ﷺ was Rasulan ila Bani Israel, how can those people be asked to believe in him?
Because the Bani Israel had reached ahead of him to the place where Buddhism spread. So he was still a prophet to the Bani Israel. Those Bani Israelis had accepted Buddhism. And that is why Ashoka, the great king, the great Buddhist king, has in his inscriptions, which are spread up to Kabul, Afghanistan, mentioned the Bani Israelis. And he specifically addresses them that you should do this and you do that to rectify your ways and things. So it's not contradictory at all. The Buddhists were those who were once Bani Israelis, and a Bani Israeli, to be a Bani Israeli is not a religion. It's a people who can change their religion. And to them again Jesus reminds of their responsibilities to God as he had addressed them earlier in Judea. So in search of the two lost tribes he reached Kashmir. There he found them to have become Buddhists, and that is why the confusion started between the identity of Christ and the identity of Buddha. Interestingly enough, the Israelis accepted a faith which was very close to that of Jesus Christ. So while in Judea they rebelled against him, in Kashmir those of the Israelites who had become Buddhists, they accepted him with open arms, because he had been prophesied by Buddha, as well as his teachings were so close to that of Buddha. There was no earthly reason why they should have rejected him. So they accepted him but assimilated him to Buddhism in a manner that from then on the history continues to remain confused. It can happen. For instance, Hazrat Masih Maud was primarily a Mahdi. Primarily, when I say primarily, I mean primarily, because even in the tradition you find this, that Mahdi would appear before Jesus Christ. So he had become Al-Mahdi before he became Jesus Christ. And that is exactly the order of his claims. In 1889, when he founded the Ahmadiyya Jamaat, he did not claim to be Al-Messiah. It was later on, in 1901, that he claimed to be that Messiah which was promised.
In 1891.
1891. Later on, in 1891, that he claimed to be that Messiah. So, how many years after?
Just 2 years. Less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years.
Yes.
89, it was March 89.
March, yes.
And
in the beginning of 91.
That's less than 2 years. But he claimed to be that Messiah after he claimed to be Al-Mahdi. That is the point. But he is remembered as Al-Messiah, while it was a foreign title. Al-Messiah to him was a foreign title. Al-Mahdi was a title given in Islam. And it was the first title given to him, which also in time preceded the title of Al-Messiah. But now when we refer to him, we always refer to him al-Masih al-Maud. So it is not unlikely at all for the Buddhists who were once Israelites to refer to him as Buddha come again. And that is what he was. So history had got intertwined in so many ways that you have to closely study it to find the traces of different traces and recognize those different traces. Now, it's a very interesting point that Buddhism as we find it today cannot be properly understood without accepting that Jesus must have come to Kashmir himself. Because from that moment in time, the history of Buddhism and the history of Christianity have got mixed up. Never before. But from that moment in time, it got so mixed up that even the Buddhists attributed virgin birth to the first Buddha. And there is a large number of Buddhists who believe that the first Buddha was born without a man, without a father participating in the course of his birth. And again, many similar things which we read in the New Testament about Jesus Christ have been attributed to the previous Buddha. This mix-up could not have happened unless Jesus had appeared among them as their Mithya, as their Mithya. So they knew him, and the people of India, while they had become Indian for a long time, they had primarily accepted Buddha. So whatever went to this Buddha, newcomer, also went to the first Buddha. That is how they got things intertwined. And if you do not believe in the coming of Jesus to India, then you can't understand why. Why two completely separate and different religions got so closely mixed up. Their teaching is mixed up, their origin is mixed up. It is because of Jesus' visit to Kashmir.